Are you guys excited to be here? Yes. Awesome. I am so thrilled to be here. A year ago, and I think it was about the same week, this time of year, I was not who I am today. I was very broken. I was very angry. I was angry that things weren't going the way that I wanted them to go. I was angry that things happened outside of my control and I could not control the situation to make it better. There were relationships in my life that weren't great. There still are, and there's some that I'm still working on, getting better. I'm not perfect yet. But at that point in time, I didn't see any way out either. And I'm sitting in my office one day, and Rennie, where's Rennie at? Rennie comes into the office, and I think I was the only one there. It was later at night, and if anyone sat down and talked to Rennie, he's just so sweet when you sit and talk to him. And he's sitting across the desk from me, and I am spewing out of my mouth words of how frustrated I was with life. Do you remember that? And telling him how upset I was about everything. And Rennie's my business partner, so this is a very vulnerable moment to be sharing this with your business partner, with Steve and I and Rennie and his wife. We're businesses in the franchise portion, so partners in the franchise. And Rennie's so sweet, and he looks at me and he says, well, you know, maybe you just need to focus on yourself. Maybe you need to find maybe a women's conference or something. My wife, Erin, loves to go to these Christian women's conferences and spend some time there and, just fellowshipping with other women, worshiping, doing all that stuff. And I've been to them before, they're great. But I knew that's not what I needed. And I looked at Rennie and I'm like, Rennie, really? Rennie, look at this right here. Look at this. Does this look like somebody that would enjoy sitting in a room with thousands of other women that I know are just there to get away from their husbands and children for the weekend? Right? Am I right? That's what happens, right? They're not going to challenge me. I'm not going to challenge them. I might hear some good speakers, but do you think I'm going to come back and change? Do you think that's really what I need? Because I'm not feeling it. And I think Rennie was a little shocked. He's like, he didn't know how to help me, but he says, well, maybe you should just Google it. So he left and I did Google it. And when I Googled it, there was women's conferences and came up, and I'm scrolling through their websites and looking at it, and I'm like, this is exactly what I don't want. I don't need this. I'm not gonna like it. It's not gonna help me. So I shut off the computer and I went home, and I didn't even talk to my husband about this. He had no idea that this conversation between Rennie and I was going on. About a month later, I'm still frustrated, sitting in the office again one night. I'm like, well, maybe I'll Google it again. Maybe there's a new conference that came out. There wasn't anything. But now Google had my number. You ever do that? You start Googling things and things show up. You know, people knew. It's like they know what's in your mind, you know? I think that was about the end of February. So a couple weeks later, I'm laying in bed. I wasn't motivated to get up and go to work. You guys ever have those days? You're like, I'm not punching a clock. Nobody's gonna know if I'm there or not. Good grief, I'm the frickin' owner of the company. Nobody's gonna tell me to be there. So I'm laying in bed, and I should have been at work, and I'm scrolling through Facebook. You guys do that? And as I'm scrolling, it stops on this big Chris the Rock Johnson lookalike guy yelling at me in my face. And he's saying, "Are you a woman leader, CEO, and you feel unfulfilled and you're not getting what you want out of life?" Oh my gosh. And he went on and on and on, and I started to cry. Like I was bawling, you guys. Like, what the heck? I think that video is like a minute long, and in the video he says, "You need to go to this documentary thing and watch this hour-long documentary." And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I looked, yeah, I don't have anything going on, so what the heck? So, you ever click on these documentaries? And it's the kind that it doesn't tell you how long the documentary is, and you have no idea where you're at. And I knew it was an hour. He said it was an hour. I trusted him that it was an hour. But I'm thinking, yeah, I'm probably a half an hour in. And as I'm watching it, I'm about a half an hour into this, and I'm like, I'm sold. I need to go to this thing. And the documentary says, if you want to come to this, you need to fill out an application. Now, it wasn't just, click on the next thing, put in your email address and your phone number, and it's, $79.99 for the next 3 years or whatever it is. It wasn't that. It was an actual application that you had to fill out. So anyway, I click on it because I'm like half an hour in. I click on it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to fill out this application. Shelley, Frody, phone number. First question: did you watch the entire documentary? Shit, I can't lie. No. Kicks me right back to the documentary. What the heck? But my second thought was, these guys are freaking serious, and this is exactly what I need. So I finished watching the documentary, filled out the application. About 5 minutes later, this guy texts me, and I don't know if he texted me. I think he said his name was Sean. I found out later his name was Sean. And he says, I read through your application. Very, not a friendly text either. It was very military, short to the point, and he ended everything with, I want you to do this, clear. And you had to type back clear. I'm like, whoa, okay. So we went back and forth. We set up a time. He wanted me to talk with him in a couple days, but we were just going to be leaving for a vacation. We were going down to Texas. Where did we go in Texas? San Antonio. We were just going to leave and go down to San Antonio. And so I was texting back and forth with him, and I said, I can't do it till we get back. So we set up the time. Still, Steve had no idea any of this was going on. get back from San Antonio, and I'm in the office on the day that I have this appointment set up. And you know how it's like if you're in the office, at least that's the way in my office. If I shut the door, the walls are thin, so if people can hear me talking, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna take this call in here because the walls are thin. And besides that, like even if my door's shut, people will open it and walk in. Like, I knew I couldn't take that call there. So I said to Lori, where's Lori? Lori, said to Lori, I had an appointment, I'm gonna run out, I'll be gone for about an hour. So I left and I drove to Hager Park and pulled in, and I was right on time because one of his things was he was texting me, our appointments, I can't remember the time, let's say it's 3 o'clock. Our appointment's 3 o'clock on Wednesday, clear? And so, and he said, do not be late. And I'm like, oh, so I'm not gonna be late. Anyway, so I get to the park, and it was about a couple minutes to, and I can't remember if I called him or he called me, but anyway, it happened right at 3 o'clock, whatever it was. And here I am talking to this guy that I've never met before, wasn't the look-alike Chris Johnson on the phone. It was this guy named Sean. Didn't know who he was, didn't know what he looked like, knew nothing about him, and I'm having a deep, personal conversation with this guy and pouring my heart out and telling him how upset I am with life and things aren't good, and I got bad relationships with my family, and I feel like I failed my franchisees, and I feel like I'm failing all the agents that work for me, and I've got all this responsibility, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to keep going. And he says to me, that I need to come to Shield Maiden. And he's inviting me to come. He says, he goes, you are the perfect person to come to this. This is what you need. And I says, well, I've watched some of the videos. I kind of got an idea of what's going on. How much does this cost? Because I know if you go to like a women's conference or whatever, what do you pay, like $100 for some of those things, or $200 or whatever it is? And that's 1,000 people in the room or whatever it is. And this is 8 people, and it's for a full week. And I'm like, this is not gonna be cheap. So, and I'll share with you the price later. I don't have to share it right now, but I knew it wasn't gonna be cheap. And so he tells me how much it is. I'm like, oh my gosh. And well, I'll share. I think it was $7,500 or something like that.
It's $10,000 now.
It's $10,000 now, okay. Just to let you know, it's $10,000 now. Inflation, and we've had that in the last year, so it totally explains it. And so anyway, Sean's telling me how much it was, and oh, and by the way, you have to buy your own plane. The cost doesn't include your plane ticket down here, and you have to pay for your hotel the whole week that you're here as well, and they do feed you, so. I hope they do feed you, and we ate very well, actually. Yeah, Satema likes to feed people very, very well. Thank you, it was great. And so he tells me how much it is. I says, done, I'm going. I hauled up my credit card and paid for it. And mind you, Steve still does not know. And so I'm like, crap, I gotta go back and tell Steve. And so I drive back to the office. I get to the office, and Steve is sitting in his office. And I go in and I sit down, and he's talking on the phone. And I just sit there, patiently waiting. And he gets off the phone, and I said, I just spent a lot of money, and I'm not done yet, because I got to go buy plane tickets and reserve a hotel room, and I'm going down to Destin, Florida, to Shield Maidens. And I told him how much I spent. And as I'm telling him this, I think I'm crying. Was I crying? I was crying. And he looked at me, he said, okay. Love you. And he says, if that's what you need, then that's what you need. So that was in March, and I was scheduled to go on May 15, which is the day after my birthday. So I flew down, and I met 7 other women that were in the same boat as I was. They were all there for different reasons, but it was truly inspired. And we say this, that every one of the ladies that were in my week were there because God told them they had to be there. And that's exactly how I felt. I'm going to read to you. There's 2 things I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read to you. This is my book when I got there that I took notes in. And when I first met Vandana, it was right in front of the hotel lobby, and we were instructed to be dressed in black in the parking lot, standing shoulder to shoulder at a certain time. I think it was 3 o'clock. Correct, yes. And they pull up in this white van, and all these girls, and I think there was a couple guys with you, Sean, maybe, and 3 of the other girls. They get out, and they look like freaking badasses. Like it was bad. And we're standing there, and they start talking to us, and it was crazy. And every 5 minutes you're planking because somebody did something wrong, and plank, and you all had to plank. Yeah. And it was like that for 3 days straight, like that. The 4th day they're friends with us by the 4th day. They weren't our friends the first few. So anyway, we did a bunch of stuff, and when we got back to their office, they gave us these, and we were instructed to sit. We're sitting in this room, and we had to write at the top of the page, what do I want, and why am I here? Before you know exactly what your goals are, or you have to get very clear. Satama talked about it. And so this was part of the exercise. I'm going to read to you the things I want. And Vandana read to you some things that I said to her in an interview, but I'm going to read to you what I had to actually write out. I want to learn how to take my business to the next level. I want to communicate better to my employees, my franchisees, my daughters, my husband, my business partners, my vendors, my customers, and I want to be a better leader and lead with integrity. I want to treat people better and respect them for who they are. I need to listen better and have more discernment. Most importantly, I need to go all in with my faith in serving at my church. I want to be the reason that people are attracted to God because of what they see in me. I want to leave a legacy after I leave this earth for the next generation. I am here to get the tools that I need to make those things happen. I am here to figure out what is holding me back and why I feel stuck. I am here to expose the things in my life that are hindering my success. I am here to learn how to be a better wife, mom, sister, friend, boss, daughter, and child of God. I am here to stop lying to myself. I am here to grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. I am here to learn how not to hold back. I am here to have people call me out on my bullshit because no one else will. I'm here to be challenged. I'm here to grow as a person. This is the first time that I've ever done something like this that is focused solely on me. I want to be better in every area of my life. I am here to figure out how to do that. I want to be more focused and to get better results. I want to listen and take direction better so I can, in turn, do the same for my team. I want to get rid of my guilt and shame that might be holding me back. I want to be fully present. I want to expose myself so that I can be set free to do what I am meant to do and to be who I am meant to be. I want to quit comparing myself to others. I want to learn specifics on how to succeed in all aspects of my life. I am here to learn from others that have gone before me. I am committed to do my very best and to be open and honest with the coaches and my team. I will not hide in this process. I will be prepared to give it everything that I have got, and I will never give up. I'm going to have them play a video because the video is going to show you exactly what the rest of that week did. And after you watch the video, I'm going to read to you my CSCs, which are my conscious self-creation. And when I read this, this is what I want. Some of this isn't actually what is yet. But because I read it and say it and hear it every day, you heard Satema talk about it, you heard Vandana talk about it. This is where I'm going, okay? So go ahead and play the video.
I'm all in.
All in.
All in.
I'm all in, Coach.
I am all in.
I promise you I'll be all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
Push yourself to that uncomfortable side and actually finding comfort in that. When you find comfort in that, that's power. And that is where things begin to change. We're gonna ask you to do some very uncomfortable things. Do not be afraid. Go all in. Start working together, communicating. All of you are struggling and failing at this at home. I promise you, I'm seeing it physically with my own eyes right here. Very simple instructions, yet we're failing.
You gotta think about how many hours of labor it took for each child. Did you have the option to give up?
Do you want to change?
Yes.
Are you all in?
Yes.
Then act like it. Go all in. Go!
The outcome has to be equally clear. We're one night in already. You got 4 days here. We're about to be done with one. Are you satisfied with what you got out of day one, or do you want more? Because you're not done. Are you willing to dig deeper past the surface to get what you want?
I want you to see a version of yourself right now. Can you see her? A powerful version of you. The most ideal version of you. Healthy, sexy, powerful, leader. What do you look like? What do you sound like? Like, how does it feel to see the most powerful version of yourself? Because the story that you tell the most is the story that you believe the most. And the story that you believe the most is the story that you say it. The story I believe the most is the story I tell the most. So why won't you just tell a powerful, positive story?
See, part of what's in these bags, guilt and shame and thoughts about things that we could have done differently in our lives. Those stories that you're telling about what you shouldn't have done and what you could have done differently would have changed where you are today. You could not be here without going through what you've been through. Your stories are like your fuselage. They have gotten you here. But in order to get where you want to go, today you get to drop the fuselage and go into orbit and fly and create the future that you want for yourself, not the one that governs you.
Who wants to sign up? I think we can get a few in this room for you. Awesome. All right. Now I'm going to share with you my CSCs, my conscious self-creation. And again, I do the same as Vonda. Vonda coaches me on a pod call every week. I write this out. I read it to myself. I read it in a Voxer. I'm not real good at that, putting it into the Voxer all the time, but I do have it in there and I listen to it too. So anyways, here's my CSCs. I know who I am in this world and I have overcome any negative thoughts or beliefs that have ever held me back. I forgive myself daily for ever believing those lies. I am a true success story. I am an extremely strong and powerful as a woman leader. I set boundaries that support my desired outcomes, and I follow through with what I say I'm going to do every time, every day. I have great wisdom and grace, and I call on that wisdom to make great decisions. I am a high-level leader that is loved and respected by my team, our franchisees and agents. I run a world-class franchise business that gives 100% to ensure the success of our franchisees and agents. I have amazing relationships with my husband, Steve, and children, Larissa and Shantavian. They love and respect me, and I love and respect them. We do incredibly fun things together on a regular basis. I take time to listen to them and I support them in the decisions that they make. I love them unconditionally and I strive to show them that love every day. I'm a hot, sexy wife to my husband, Steve, and a loving, caring mother to my children. Physically, I'm strong and I'm in the best shape of my life. I eat healthy foods that are good for me and give me the energy that I need to fuel my success. I weigh 130 pounds and I have great muscle definition in my arms, legs, and abs. I look more like I'm in my 30s. You guys gotta tell me that every day, you guys. And I get compliments all the time. I have beautiful hair, skin, and nails, and I take pride in how I look every day. I have a strong and ever-growing relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I read his word daily and pray, asking him to guide and bless my every move. I happily serve him, and I live out his will for my life. I know him, and he knows me, and I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm a child of the King, and I serve to glorify him.